Okay, hi there. We're going to start to take our paintings and create those into print. So in doing this, I'm just going to open up one of my scanned images and drag that into the Photoshop application, wait for that to open. There it is. Now I want to take this section out and make that into a print. So I'm going to highlight that area using the rectangle marquee tool, or you can even use the Polygonal, Lasso, but I just need to get that square in the corner, so I'm quite happy with that. So by clicking and dragging, I've selected the area that I want to copy, and then up to edit, copy, or if you like shortcuts, Command C, and I'm going to paste that into my document here. As you can see, it looks slightly different because I've scanned in my drawings into a high resolution of 600 pixels per inch, and my print document is actually lower than that. So my print document, going to image size, is 200. Working at a lower resolution here just so that I can keep file size low, and I'm not working large scale, so I don't need that much detail, so I can get away with that with the prints that I'm doing onto fabric. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this image firstly by hitting the magic wand tool and selecting this very grey area here, which is the paper basically that I've been painting onto. So selecting that, you can see it's pretty much picked up everything that I want it to. If I was really pickety, I would go into this area here, but I don't want it to look too refined. I do want it to look hand done, so I'm just going to leave it as that, and I'm just going to hit clear to remove that. Okay, so that's cleared now. A quick way to get rid of the running ants selection tool is to press Command D or Control D to deselect. If you're wondering how this floral image was originally created, I was just kind of messing around using Indian inks, which is so lovely. They just flow and you can get some really lovely textures using those inks and paintbrushes, and give you really nice kind of fluid lines as well. But I'm not sure just yet what I'm going to do with this. I think I'm going to be looking at a repeat, so I'm going to show you how we can resize this, because at the moment my print tile is 30 by 30, keeping it really simple and easy. This cloth, the print that I'm creating, will probably be used on something like zip bags that I create, so I don't want to have a print repeat which is bigger than that, because the scale will just sort of go off if I was looking at, these are small bags, so I do want to keep the print relatively small to fit in with that. So let's see what we're going to do. I think I'm going to start off by firstly resizing this image of a floral. So again, Command C, transform, if you like your shortcuts, keypad shortcuts, or you can always travel up to edit and then transform. Free transform is probably the easiest. So just by grabbing the corner there and holding shift, it will constrain the proportion, so it will keep it in proportion as you make the image smaller or bigger. And what's handy there as well, the measurements of that also come up. I've probably got some cleaning up to do with that image, so I'm just going to hold it there. You may find you go through the process of sort of cleaning up your cleaning up the background, you may have like a strain of colour left somewhere here. That's why the box bounding box isn't as tight. So I'm just going to remove a background, see if I can see anything, or you know what, just going to create a bounding box, click clear, deselect, so that anything hovering that I can't see at the moment is just going away, because it's guaranteed once I put a background in that may just show up. Okay, so let's see what we're working with. Okay, so I'm going to try that again. Control T. Now you can see the bounding box is a lot more tight, so the measurements now are going to be a bit more accurate. Let's see how this goes. Start with about 9 centimeters is going to be how big that I want it. It's quite good to sort of have your tape measure by you so you can see what you're working with. And you know what, I'm going to turn that on its side as well slightly by clicking and dragging, so you get this curved double-ended. If you just hover near a corner, usually you get this double-ended curved arrow, double-ended arrow curve maybe, to angle your selection, and just always checking in proportion to everything else how that's looking as I go. I'm happy with that, so select OK. Right, I want to duplicate that and have a sort of running theme. Maybe travelling up, something like that. I'll keep it quite simple for today. So quickly, if you use Command A, that selects the whole page or the whole layer. Just check the layer that you're working on. In this case, we've only got one layer, is sort of selected, and then copy, Command C, and then Command V for paste, or go up to edit, paste. Although, you know, you want to avoid doing that, you want to work as efficiently as you can. And I'm just going to turn that on its head slightly as well, and maybe have something sort of trickling. Should it join? I'm not sure. Let's just go with that. Now I'm going to copy and repeat these two floors, so I've got one end matching the other. So quick way, I'm going to merge these layers together. So having layer 2 highlighted, if you hold down your shift key and select layer 1, that will highlight both the layers, and then Command E will merge your layers. If I undo that, Command Z is undo, go up to layer, you've got merge layers here, and that will merge the selected layers, not your visible, but your selected. So there we go. And now you can see those are now, they've become one layer, and they're movable. Same thing again, I want another 2, so I'm going to select all, copy, paste. And have it floating maybe somewhere down there. Okay, so already it's too big. So never mind, I am going to do merge those two together so they're groups, and now transform all, because I know I want 4. Let's just see how this goes, because I might not be able to do this second. Yeah. So when I come to repeat making this into a tile, I need to make sure that these are the opposite end of each other. I'm happy with that. So a bit of a floral stripe maybe. I think that this is what it's turning into. Yeah, I quite like that idea. Now I'm going to maybe make another 2 rows, so I'll have 3 rows. I think that's might just about fit if I move this one across and up a little. I'm using Cs6, so it hasn't got the snap guides that something like Adobe CC now has, so that's always a benefit when you've got the snap guides, because you know everything is sort of you know, aligned. I can already tell that this is not aligned, and maybe that's going to become an issue. But if I want a wavy effect, I like a wavy effect, so let's see if it causes an issue later. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just go back a couple of steps and try and make those align, because I do think it's going to become an issue. So I'm just going back through my history panel, so about there where I've got my two layers. It's because they were too big, I think, that I couldn't really see them aligned. So what I'm going to do is just shove this layer, not that layer, layer 2, sort of via the side here. You can even use your guides. Let's use a guide. Pull out from the ruler and sort of align it to where you want it to be. So there. And now I'm going to shift this so the tip of the petal is just about touching it. So that's going to be my point of alignment for my next piece. So that's sort of touching there, but that's definitely touching there because I want it flowing straight now. And using this layer, I'm going to then do the same here. To zoom out a little, so I just want to, that's it. I'm happy with that now. Now I can merge them, so Shift, select both of them, Command E, merge as visible, Command T, transforming to resize. I mean, there's probably a million different ways you can do this. I'm kind of stuck in my ways at the moment, and if you've got any suggestions or, you know, quick tricks that could save me time, please let me know. Okay. Right, so I might just show you how to name your layers, because as you build and build and build, it can become a little bit complicated. So I'm going to call this floral stripe 1. Yeah, 1 sounds good. And select all, copy paste. I'm going to have them flow next to each other. What I do recommend to do is actually looking at, so just hit Command T to transform, is to see what happens when you start using some of these transform tools, like flipping horizontally. You get sort of this going on, the mirrored effect, although I think mirroring has been done so many times and it's not the greatest look anymore, I'm afraid. It could look good on a, you know, panel of a shirt maybe, but we're doing an all-over print at the moment, and I'm going to avoid that today, but play around, you know. Nothing's permanent, so it's always an undo. Keep going with that. So I'm just going to hit flip horizontally, or you could have just pressed undo. So to keep this aligned again, I'm going to use my guides because I want it to be aligned at the top now. So, oops, pulling from your rulers, and you need to make sure your rulers are visible to be able to do this, I think. I always work my rulers, so I don't know. Selecting that layer, we're going to bring it up so it just about touches the same as this one, so we know we're the same distance apart, and that will also be the same distance apart. So we are in alignment now. Okay, so I want to make 3 fit, so it's going to be a case of shifting this across slightly. May not be that accurate, but we're going to go with it. So make sure you've only got one of those layers selected and pull across. I think these distances are looking, from the way I'm looking, they're looking quite even at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that as it is. What I like to do is to have a spare handy. Well, firstly, I'm going to merge these together so they become one layer. But before I do that, I'm going to save one stripe. We'll just duplicate a layer so I've got that handy for later. So this is going to be floral copy. Okay. And I'm going to set that near the back and just hide it. So these eyes here indicates whether the layer is visible or not. So I'm going to just turn that off. Right. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to merge those all together now, selecting them all, Command E. So floral plain stripe. So that's looking how I want it to look at the moment. If you want to clear your guides, you just go up to View and Clear Guides, and that removes any guides that you've made. And now, I'm just going to stretch these out so that they fill the canvas as much as I can. And try and centre it as much as possible. I'm not sure whether it will want to. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to go back to my drawings. Kind of like this texture for a background, or maybe in places. So I'm going to hit the Polygonal Lasso tool and select around this area I want to create print with. You can do this really roughly, but I like to have less clearing up to do, so I like to try and get as tight as possible. Okay, copy, going back to my design board, and paste. Again, that's much bigger because of the resolution differences. So if you're working in different resolutions from one file to the next, there's going to be size discrepancies. So just check if you want to work to scale on everything. Make sure you keep your resolution consistent, or just be aware that you may need to change it if you're not that fussed. Okay, so I've kind of lost, I want this a little bit brighter. It looks a bit dull, especially this sort of lilac colour. I want to boost that up, so to do that, a handy way of selecting and changing saturation or colours within a painted image would be to go to select colour range and kind of indicating what colour you're working with. So this one, I've just dropped the tool down there and now it's made a selection. And fuzziness, by clicking selection, the area that you're working with will become highlighted in this panel. So I just want that lilac, so as you take this higher, more of your page gets selected and then less of it, so we're looking at about this much. And press OK, and now it's just selected that pink. There is another way of doing this, but we're going to stick with this way for now. And now what we can do, we can go to Image Adjustments. Hue Saturation is probably the quickest way of changing a colour or previewing what colour another suited colour would be. As I drag Hue, you can see sort of temperature changes almost, but I want it quite bright, so I'm going to go up, but I'm also going to boost the saturation, see whether that helps. I expected a bit to help a bit more. Let's just go with that. But instead I think what I'm going to do is fill that colour with something bright. So I've just hit my colour pads there. I want a bright colour. Don't want anything dull. So maybe something like a hot pink. Something around there. Boost that up a bit. Okay. Now we can fill it, but if we fill it with if we fill the opacity at 100%, let's see what happens. It just kind of makes it look flat. But if we undo that and actually fill it maybe 60, I think we're still going to get some of that texture in. Although, like I said, this is going to get printed onto cloth, and I think a lot of the detail within the strokes will get lost slightly within the weave, so it's up to your own discretion. You know, if you were then going to make a paper print out of this, as in digitally printed, you'd want to kind of keep it, you know, quite refined, keeping in that detail maybe. It just depends on the aesthetic that you're going for. Alright, so at the moment this just looks like if I drag it behind my flooring, it's in the way really. Let's see what we can do to sort of moving it around, seeing where it's going to go. Perhaps changing the scale of it might help. Again, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the background of this, so what I might do is just see if there's anything left to clear, and there was. So just by hitting the empty space, I've probably removed a lot of junk that was hiding in the background. Let's see how this will fit in. It's always a mystery. This might not look good at all. I've not practiced this, so bear with me. Maybe that will look, I don't know. I like to repeat things and to see how they go, where they go, if they do fit in. Okay, so I'm facing a bit of a dilemma with how this background is going to kind of sit with the flow of the design, because I've got these florals sort of going in a zigzag direction. So should I make this kind of flow in a similar way? So I just also want to select that copy, paste it, just see how it looks when it's repeated. And I don't know why this keeps selecting both. Sometimes you might want to turn off that top layer just so that you've got this clarity here. And also scale has a lot to do with it also. I like having different scales at the front and the back. I think it makes the artwork kind of pop out a bit more, if that makes sense. I don't know. So I'm just shifting this to have a look what happens to it when it crosses over. So that might be quite a nice little texture pattern going on there as it crosses. So let's just go with that. I'm gonna merge it all, or merge some of it, but this is being tricky. Okay, didn't copy it across, so let's just take that as an opportunity to turn it in another direction again. And cross it over, give it some room. I'm going to build up the pattern background like this from now on, so that's it. I might just go with that now. It's probably not the most exciting patterns. It's certainly not what I would have first thought I'd go into. However, you never know where it's going to take you. Again, I'm just going to copy one of these layers for safekeeping. Copy and paste. Just hide it, because that's just going to hide as a copy file. Or copied layer. So the issue here is I've got these two going on. And really behind these floors I do want this detail to kind of stand out a bit, so I'm going to wedge in a layer between the strokes and the florals, which I should have really done at the start, because now it's going to mean a bit of uneven patching up. But if we make it quite free-handed, maybe put in some blobs in there, an airbrush, seems to, maybe I'll make it every other one, it won't look so obvious. We'll see if it works. It probably won't, but we'll try it out. That one's gonna, it might not. I know, we're gonna forget the stripes for now. They might come back. However, I'm going to duplicate these layers because I am now going to sort of tile them. Oh, sorry, create a tile. And I need to merge these two together first, so that I can offset this canvas. This is one method of creating a repeat tile. Maybe not everybody's favourite, but we'll see how this one goes. You can come across some problems with that, but we'll see whether this is happy with it. So just merge those together, so now I have one flat tile. What you want to do is to offset your image. You want to make a repeat tile, you want to find out your image size in pixels. For example, this is 2362 pixels. So write down that number, get a calculator, and divide that number by 2. So this is 1181, so 1181. I've written that down. What's great is when you keep working at the same sort of repeat tile size, your pixels are going to be the same when you divide them. So you might find if you're constantly working at the same tile size, then you're going to remember that number, or your offset setting is going to be just as you left it. This one isn't, so I can show you what to do. So take you back. To create the offset, we're going to go to Filter, Other, Offset, and type in that value that you had. So I've got 1181, and then 1181. Make sure that you've got this area selected wraparound. You can see what happens with the other ones, but really you want that selected and have a preview there. So at the moment this isn't looking too shabby. This gap may be bigger than I would have hoped for. However, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to mess around with that. Although, the truth, the results will be when I repeat this on a larger scale. So, Command A, select all, and then edit. I'm going to define patterns. So, I'm going to call this floral stripe 1. I'm going to get a collection of these. Remember, if you have the background white selected in the background, everything will become your tile, so will be involved in the print. Sorry. So actually, I don't want that. I want a transparent background. So I'm going to do that again. Select all and define pattern. So floral. Let's call it floral stripe 1. Okay. To test this tile, I am now going to open a new file in centimeters, and roughly my cloth is at probably about 139 centimeters by, let's say, what it looks like over 1 meter. Just keep it RGB. I know my resolution here is 200, so this is going to be 200 as well, so there's no size discrepancies. So open that up, so add another layer, and now go to your bucket tool, press pattern, and find your pattern that you've just saved. So here it is, floral stripe 1, and fill. So that gap is noticeable, very noticeable. Although, apart from the gap, okay, so I need to remove this gap. I'm going to do something which is a little bit unethical, and select this half of a design. I've closed in on the gaps by using, pulling out my guides and checking where the crossover is between them, and there and there. So my theory is that I'm just going to drag the artwork across if it would like to. So I've selected, and then holding down Command, I'm just pulling it to that center line at the 14 sort of centimeter point. Okay, and then deselect. I'll remove that, and now no, I'm going to drag this guide here. Guides really do just allow you to snap everything that you're selecting when you are using this rectangular marquee tool. It's really handy so that you don't miss anything. So it allows you to go edge to edge without sort of, there's a point where it kind of stutters. Okay. Anyway, let's try this. Let's hope this works now. It should be in alignment. I'm hoping it's going to be in alignment. It might not be perfect. I think it's still, I think it can go across a little bit more. So you learn more from making mistakes, if everything's perfect, so you just won't know how to correct it. Do I want to shift it slightly? If you were transform and then just nudge it using the arrow keys. If you're working to specification, and you're getting paid for this job, and somebody's going to be looking over it, or it's got to go to print in a certain way, certain dimension. These are kind of things that you don't want to get wrong. For example, my 30 by 30 tile has now become a 27.5 30 tile. But, hey ho. Right, I'm going to make this now into, I'm going to define it as a pattern again. Just check floor to see whether that's worked, and go back onto my blank canvas, add another layer, hide that one. Let's see if it's done the job. And it has. These aren't touching, that's the only problem that I'm having there. Although, I don't mind so much because these are going to be, if I print this out onto accessories, they're no bigger than, say, 20. Maybe sometimes not even that. So these little things are ones to watch if you want it to be completely fluid. So just be wary of that. There you have it. If you want to use something in the background, you can. I've abandoned the strokes idea, although if I want to make just a really basic tile in the background for that, I can. I'm going to leave it how it is. Deselect, select all, define that as a pattern. Drop it in behind here. It's going to be a bit of a boxy repeat. Yeah, it's obviously, I think you'd have to just get fully committed to that, but you can see how it may work. And there you have it, making your scan doodles into print. Not the most exciting, I know, but still basic and effective. Small amount of Photoshop manipulation, let's just put it that way. However, this is the kind of results you can get. So if you have any comments or have any tips, you know, how you do things differently in your Photoshop practice, please let me know in the comments below.